Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about the significance of when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons and understanding what we're doing at the Dungeons and Dragons table and why every minute you spend at a Dungeons and Dragons table is more valuable than everything else that happens in the rest of your week that is from a secular perspective. All right, let's talk about it. And how we understand this through John Mulaney's recent special of Everybody's in LA. So, what was Everybody in LA? It was really profound. It was a moment in the history of streaming. So, streaming it definitely has its own history, and we're at the frontier. We're at the frontier of it. We really are. We're finding out some things. One of the things is streaming doesn't work for anybody else but Netflix. Netflix is the only company in the world that has ever made streaming profitable. That's profound. Nobody knew this. Nobody expected it. Like everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we can make Coca-Cola too." Not really. Like, like it's really, and like Pepsi's a profitable company, and everybody expected that you could just copy a product and you could make it work. And people like they messed around and they found out, right? Like it's pretty profound, right? But Netflix took this risk with John Mulaney, and they did a 6-episode Everybody's in LA, and it was John Mulaney doing a talk show. It is the most important moment in streaming history, which is about 10 years old, right? It's the most significant show that has ever occurred on streaming. Okay. Now, why is it special? Well, honestly, if you didn't see it, I can't really even explain it to you. You missed a moment in entertainment, right? And I'm not even going to try to explain it to you. You missed history. That's what I'm going to tell you, okay? But if you were there, like right? Like this thing was, it was like watching a train wreck where everybody jumped out of the burning train and was like in glowing white robes and sang a song. It was like it's like nothing you've ever seen. It was a glorious mix of massive failure spiked with massive success. It was one of the most risky things that's ever been put on the small screen, right? And it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Don't go watch the rerun. It's like ordering from a 5-star chef and eating the food a week later. It's not gonna, you're not gonna understand it, right? The entire point of it was the risk it was taking. Let's talk about why this is important for Dungeons and Dragons. So I realized when I was done watching this 6 nights of live television, right, which much of it was painful to watch, painful, just terrible, like boring, uncomfortable, but spiked with just outrageous laughter and profound moments, and a sense that you were watching something that people would copy decades later, right? The risk taking was phenomenal, right? And what I realized is I would rather watch John Mulaney fail at a talk show than watch Jimmy Fallon on his best night. And I actually like Jimmy Fallon. I like Jimmy Fallon. He's fantastic. But he gets questions of like, he'll pull out a cue card and he'll say, "Tell me about that time when your dog bit your kitten. When your puppy bit your kitten." And you're like, this was sent over. This stupid cue card was, the question on the cue card was sent over by their publicist. The two of them are smiling at each other. They don't care about each other. This isn't a genuine question. Nothing happened. Nothing happening has any risk. None of it is real. None of it matters, right? Whereas, holy cows, man, it was such so John Mulaney brought on real life, like a paleontologist, a hypnotist, a he brought on Elvira out of costume. I didn't know until after she was off screen that it was Elvira. It was just, there was stuff that was happening on the screen. You were like, what is happening, right? And the reality is John Mulaney is a genius, and you just are there for whatever. And he is a master at performance, right? And he's one of the best in history, right? Like, it's like watching Alexander the Great go to war. Like, he's phenomenally good, right? And the point is, Gary built this filter, okay? When you sit at a physical table with physical books and Lego on the table to model life, right? You are with the best people you're going to find, right? On the secular side of your life, right? Outside of your family, right? Of course, prioritize your family, right? And the people, the people you love and care for, right? But frankly, I would even say friends are secondary to the people. Not Nothing should be prioritized over your family. Your blood is your blood, okay? And I'm not talking about that family you chose, whatever. That's just friends with a different name. Like, please, right? Absolutely prioritize your family. Your blood is your blood, okay? They come first, right? But the people at your Dungeons and Dragons table, that dungeon master and those dragon masters, those are the people. This is it. It's like Mulaney, right? These people, you would rather see them fail at running a good D&D campaign than be successful at playing through Nier Automata. Right? Like my point is, your best successes on other things other than D&D aren't worth the worst failures of Dungeons and Dragons. Right? And that's the point. You could put together 6 nights of the best clips or the best shows Fallon has ever done. I would pay you not to watch them and to see and to make sure that I did not miss Mulaney's thing live. It was a moment. It was a moment, right? A moment in time, a moment in history, and it was truly astounding, right? And the point is, it's because of who he is. He is an absolute genius. Now, Scott, why are the people sitting around my D&D table so special? These are the intellectual adventurers. These are the risk takers. What risks are they taking? They are pursuing manifold sentience. They are willing to have 10 sets of memory, 10 sets of sensation, 10 sets of emotion, 10 sets of experience. And there is bleed, right? They may bring the best parts of those identities in themselves and shunt the worst parts of their own identity into the player characters. Or they may fail to do that. They may actually pick up terrible traits from their player characters, right? But they're saying, I'm not going to be a person who watched the sunset on one world. And they won't. And that's the important part. I would rather spend 5 minutes with a person who has watched the sunset on 10 worlds, right? Than ride a roller coaster, while I got to drink, orange juice with a person who's only ever watched the sunset on one world. It's the people that matter. John Mulaney's failures are 10 times more valuable than Jimmy Fallon's greatest successes. And I'm telling you, Gary built a filter for the most charismatic, confident, intelligent people in the world. And the time that you spend with them is of unlimited value. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.